What if the single most powerful way to lower your blood sugar had nothing to do with what you eat and everything to do with what you do in the 10 minutes right after? If you've ever cut carbs, counted every gram of sugar, and still watched your energy crash an hour after eating, I want you to know, you're not doing anything wrong. Most of us were taught to focus only on what's on the plate, when there's a second variable that matters just as much: timing. Today, I'm showing you the single most effective, research-backed way to lower a blood sugar spike, why it works at the cellular level, and exactly how long, how fast, and when to do it for the biggest effect. Let's get into it. Why blood sugar spikes in the first place? Let's start with what's actually happening in your body after you eat. Here's the thing: every meal with carbohydrates raises your blood sugar. That's normal. Your blood sugar typically peaks 30 to 60 minutes after eating, then gradually comes back down over the next 2 to 3 hours. The problem isn't that spike existing, it's how high it climbs, and how often it happens. Imagine your bloodstream as a highway, and glucose as cars entering it. A few cars merging smoothly is fine. But when too many cars flood in at once, traffic backs up. That's what a big spike does to your blood vessels. Repeated sharp spikes, day after day, drive inflammation, stress your blood vessel lining, and over time, push your body toward insulin resistance. So the real goal isn't eliminating the rise entirely, it's flattening the peak. And that brings us to the single most effective tool for doing exactly that. The number one method: walking right after you eat. Here's the reveal. The single most effective, research-backed way to lower a blood sugar spike is simple, free, and takes as little as 2 to 10 minutes. A short walk, done immediately after you eat. A 2022 meta-analysis in the journal Sports Medicine, pooling multiple controlled studies, found that light walking after a meal lowered peak blood sugar by roughly 17 to 24% compared to simply sitting. Other research has shown that even a 2 to 5 minute walk produces a measurable drop, and that walking done in the first 30 minutes after eating rather than waiting an hour appears to be the most effective window. Here's why this works at the cellular level. I want you to imagine your muscles as thousands of tiny doors, and glucose as delivery trucks trying to drop off the cargo. Normally, insulin is the key that unlocks those doors. But when your muscles contract even gently, even just from walking, they can open a separate set of doors on their own, without needing insulin at all. It's called a GLUT4 transporter pathway, and it means your muscles start pulling glucose directly out of your bloodstream the moment you start moving. You're giving your body a second way to clear that sugar, on top of insulin, instead of relying on insulin alone. That's the mini payoff of this one habit: a flatter blood sugar curve, less of an energy crash an hour later, and over time, less strain on the insulin system that's working hardest when you eat the foods you enjoy. If you're ready to manage your blood sugar with tools that are actually backed by research, not just another restrictive diet, hit subscribe. Every week, we break down science-backed habits like this one that actually move the needle. How to do it right, timing, duration, and intensity. Now let's get specific, because the details here genuinely change how effective this is. On timing, the research is fairly consistent that sooner is better. Walking within the first 30 minutes after your last bite, ideally as close to immediately as possible, produces a bigger effect than waiting an hour, because you're intervening right as glucose is entering your bloodstream, not after it's already peaked. On duration, you don't need a long workout. Studies have found benefits from walks as short as 2 to 5 minutes, with 10 minutes appearing to be a reliable, practical sweet spot. One study even found a 10-minute walk performed just as well as a full 30-minute walk for controlling the after-meal spike. If a 10-minute walk isn't realistic after every meal, breaking it into 2 to 5 minute walking breaks every 30 minutes has also been shown to work nearly as well. On intensity, this isn't about a hard workout. Light, easy-paced walking, the kind where you could comfortably hold a conversation, is exactly what the research used, and it's ideal because it's active enough to engage those glucose transporters in your muscles, without diverting so much blood flow away from digestion that it causes discomfort. And practically, this means, After dinner, instead of sitting straight down on the couch, take a lap around the block, walk the dog, or even pace around your kitchen while you clean up. After a working lunch, a short walk to the end of the hallway and back, done consistently, adds up. What makes it even more effective if you want to stack the odds even further in your favor? There are 2 things worth knowing. First, meal composition still matters. Walking isn't a replacement for how you build your plate, it's a multiplier on top of it. Meals higher in fiber, protein, and fat naturally slow down how quickly glucose enters your bloodstream in the first place, which means your post-meal walk has less of a spike to work against. Second, consistency compounds. A single post-meal walk lowers a single spike. But repeated, day after day, that pattern is also linked to better long-term insulin sensitivity, meaning your body needs less insulin over time to do the same job. That's the deeper payoff here. You're not just managing today's meal, you're training your metabolism to handle tomorrow's more efficiently too. So here's your one habit to take away from this video. After your next meal, before you sit back down, take a 10-minute walk. That's it. Not a workout, not a diet change, just movement, in the window where it matters most. If 10 minutes isn't possible, even 2 minutes is worth doing. Small, consistent action, at the right moment, beats a perfect plan you never start. If this gave you a tool you can actually use today, hit like and let me know in the comments. Are you going to try this after your next meal?